Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. This is the beginning of an excerpt of a live interpretation of an oral commentary given by Bhikkhu Thich Tue on the Avatamsaka Sutra.
And the next thing. And the next thing. Regarding the ordained members, here they say that they attain indestructible faith in the practice of skill in expedient means. So then we always talk about the ordained members as enlightened beings. But let's say if a lay person who had attained enlightenment, would we dare to look at a lay person and receive teaching from this lay person? So all bodhisattvas don't necessarily appear in the world of the ordained members, because the bodhisattvas appear in all spheres, in all realms. So the Japanese have invented a robot who can give teachings, on the Dharma. Then we don't need to sit and listen to the monks and the Dharma masters. Now they listen to the robot giving teaching. And so they were doing this because, well, let's say if the Dharma masters are too lazy to give teachings, then they would listen to the robots. So what we are talking here is that those people really respect the Dharma, so that listen to the Dharma from the robots. But let's say if a lay person has attained enlightenment, would you dare to listen to the lay person giving teaching? Just like our sick patriarch, he had already attained enlightenment, but he was still a lay person. But before he gave teaching, he had to shave his head and become ordained before he could mount the lion throne to give teachings. Because that is the way it is, the protocol of that time, of that period of time. But there's one thing that in our Vietnamese, Vietnamese history, in the history of Vietnam, there was something that is very unique. His name is Tuệ Trung Thượng Sĩ. In China, there's Mr. Bang, who was also a lay person, who's very famous, who is eminent, but he never gave teaching. But in the time of of Vietnam, the ordained members went to receive teaching from Tuệ Trung Thượng Sĩ, who was a lay person at that time. So then what does it mean? It means that we have to really pay deep respect to the expedient means of all the bodhisattvas. Because why? Because the bodhisattvas have to rely on the skillful means to become a person in this world to give teaching. So what does it mean? It means that maybe the bodhisattvas have become ordained for so many lifetimes already. So now they want to give teaching in the form of a lay person. So let's say there are people who are not even Buddhists, who are not practitioners. They may not be saying one word about the Buddha Dharma, and they just live a very good life, and whatever they said, they were able to transform the people around him. But then there were other people who are masters teaching, giving Buddhist teachings, but who were not able to transform anyone. So actually, whoever has the ability or the virtues or the meritorious power to transform other people's mind, then that is a bodhisattva. So, for example, we sometimes give teaching and we said it in a very we say it in a very protocolic Buddhist way to try to transform people's mind. But these bodhisattvas who appear in a different kind of form, he would say it in a very mundane way, in a very non-Buddhist way. Oh, don't do that anymore, just give up. But somehow people could transform. So sometimes they don't use the language of the Buddha Dharma, but they live in a form of non-attachment, and through that they use it as a skillful means. So when we talk about skillful means, there are multitudes of skillful means in all kinds of professions throughout this society, throughout all the societies. They are in hidden forms of bodhisattvas. So some of the world leaders are actually very good leaders, and then they help transform the beings. So then if there are other leaders who are not good enough, then some of the bodhisattvas appear and work together with the leaders so that the leaders themselves can become better. So the bodhisattvas could work hand in hand with the leaders. So you have to make sure that you understand the skillful means of the bodhisattvas. So for example, within our world, let's say if you are a female and you are a very a very successful business, but then the whole family destroy your wealth because whatever you were able to make, they were able to destroy, and then you became so sad and so depressed, and then you ended up in the temple, and then there are other people who get sick from their husbands because they are alcoholic, and then the wives will say, oh, I would never want to see the face of another man again. And then these are the bodhisattvas who use the negative skillful means to help you to come closer to the Buddha Dharma. So whichever means that they are trying to employ, whether it's positive or negative, you really cannot fathom, because those are expedient means that the bodhisattvas are using in order to enlighten us. So here we are talking about the indestructible faith, about all the expedient means, skillful means that the bodhisattvas use to transform us. In the past, we talked about indestructible faith, about the sentient beings. What is it? It means that all sentient beings are Buddhas, and all sentient beings are already Buddhas. So if we already talk about all the sentient beings being Buddhas, then now we are saying that all sentient beings are bodhisattvas. So all of you here who are sitting here are bodhisattvas. And why are you here? It is because you want to improve this this world, this human world. So you have great missions being here. You come here as great missionaries to help the sentient beings, and each of you does it in a different way. So that's why we said it always as skillful means. So sometimes people see, oh, this person is lazy, he doesn't want to study, and then this person doesn't want to do business, and he doesn't live a good life, and you don't have enough food to eat, etc. So then if you live such a life and then your neighbor looks at you and see, oh my gosh, this person is so horrible, then actually maybe this horrible person is using a skillful mean in every which way to awaken another person. So maybe you would get awakened if in the morning someone comes to you and start to curse at you, and you don't know why, and you become tormented about you yourself being cursed, and why this lady who's a stranger comes to curse at me, and then you try to understand and to find it out from a Buddhist scripture, then you realize, oh, maybe it is my karma that I receive all this cursing from her. So actually, it's just a different way for you to enter the Buddha Dharma. And the Buddha Dharma and the Bodhisattvas have countless skillful means. So we have to see that. So which sutra talks to us a lot about this. So this is a Lotus Sutra. It says that if you want to take the form of the Buddha, then you manifest as a Buddha. If you want to manifest as lay people, then you manifest as lay people. That's how the Bodhisattvas are. And if the Bodhisattvas want to manifest as an evil person, then Zaswa or Yaksha or Lasat, then you manifest as Yaksha and Lashas, or you can manifest as somebody who curses at you. So the Yaksha and the Lasat appear in order to awaken you. So then it's not necessary that Yaksha and Lashas would eat you up, but they can manifest as a person who always curses at you. So if you are a benevolent person, a nice person, and you look at the person who curses at you, then you want to continue to be nice, to be benevolent, then that is the skillful mean of a bodhisattvas. So if you have indestructible faith in all the skillful means to awaken all sentient beings in whichever way, then that means you have truly inconceivable, indestructible faith in the Buddha Dharma. But if you only think that the Bodhisattvas are those who are grand masters, who give teachings on the throne, who protect you, who support you, who help you to attain enlightenment, then you believe that that person is a bodhisattva, and you don't believe in another bodhisattva who's a drunkard, who's alcoholic, then, you have to rethink about it. Because in the chapter of the 10 Kuntu Zangpo's chapter, the all goodness chapter, the 10 all goodness chapter, you could see that everybody, all the bodhisattvas, not everybody, but all the bodhisattvas use countless means to enlighten you. And the only means is to manifest in whichever way to awaken you. For example, if a friend of yours treated you unfairly, tricked you, and you ended up in the prison, and then after that you were released from the prison, then you contemplate, then you realize that, oh, this is a bodhisattva. He was a bodhisattva who remind me of this karma, reminded me of the Buddha Dharma, and I lost all of my wealth, I lost all of my power, but now I could enter the house of the Buddha Dharma, and I become very quiescent, I become very nice, I become very peaceful. Then you realize that, oh, that friend of mine actually helped me to awaken from all the suffering of the world. So he tricked us so that we ended up being in a helpless situation, in a situation that beyond our imagination. We lost everything. We no longer had a house. We no longer had food to eat. Then we entered the temple. We entered the Buddha Dharma. Then we realized, oh, it's not money who could bring me peace and happiness. But without that person who made us suffer so harshly, then we were not able to awaken. So we really have to pay respect or to thank those bodhisattvas who ended up using negative means to help to awaken us. Without them, maybe they were not able to awaken. So in the past, we're talking about indestructible faith, about all the sentient beings being Buddhas, but now we have to have indestructible faith in regards to everything that takes place place in this world because they take place in order to help us to gain enlightenment. Do you dare to believe in that? So let's say if you believe in it, and then after this and somebody starts to cuss at you, then would you be able to let go of it? If you are able to let go of it, then you are free and at ease. But if you are being attached, or you still cling to the curses that you receive from another person, that means you still don't understand the Buddha Dharma. So, but if after being cursed, you contemplate and you realize, oh, it is my karma. Oh, they are trying to remind me of something, of the karma of cause and effect, then why does it happen? It is because in the temple, not everything is calm and not everything is peaceful all the time. And when something like that happen, when disturbances happen, when negative activities happen, negative incidents happen, if you continue to remain in a state of stability, of mental stability, then that means that you are in depth in the Buddha Dharma. If so, then you should go and look for that person who curses at you, to thank that person, because you could see that after you suffer for a few days, then you become awakened. Then without somebody cursing at you, then you're not able to awaken. And so whatever happens in this life, whether it's positive or it's negative, then you should see all of them as the activities and the skillful means of the bodhisattvas. And sometimes you may not be able to understand it. In time you will, but maybe you don't understand it right now. So in the future, if anything happens to you, if somebody curses at you, you still don't understand it, then you can just bow your head and say thank you. Thank you for cursing me, for coming here and for cursing me, although I don't understand yet. You still need to thank you. So you can believe that that person who's cursing at you is a bodhisattva who comes here to teach you. So whichever conditions, whichever circumstances are what the bodhisattvas are trying to teach you. And if you actually have this kind of indestructible faith, then you no longer have any suffering, no longer have any torments, because if you truly believe in the expedient means, in the skillful means of the bodhisattvas, it is beyond our imagination. It's not something that we can fathom. There are many things, just ordinary things, that you don't completely understand. Even if somebody tries to curse at you, maybe it is your karma, or maybe the bodhisattvas are just trying to prove to you, to teach you something. For example, if yesterday you had a very good meditative absorption, you enter meditative absorption, you had a very quiescent mind, and then in the morning you woke up, and then somebody started to cuss at you, and already you became uneasy. That means that your meditative absorption was nothing compared to your disturbance. So then that person who curses you is reminding you that your state of the mind is not stable yet. So if you truly believe and have indestructible faith in the Buddha Dharma and in the Bodhisattvas, then you have to see that all the sentient beings are actually your Dharma teachers. They are your Dharma friends. They are your spiritual friends. Whether it is positive or it's negative, still it is something that is good for you. So don't be prepared for anything. You can be unprepared about it. You can be unready about it, but you just have to accept it. So whoever comes to do anything to you in this life, just see that person as a bodhisattva. So every night we pray in front of the Buddha, and we say that, oh, I want to learn the Buddha Dharma in accordance with whichever that comes into my life. Well, if you talk about every day, then you have to actually practice it, because let's say the next morning a teacher begins to scold you, then you become very upset and you walk away. You think that the teacher doesn't understand you. I'm such a nice person, and why is he saying all this to me? Why is he scolding me? And then you walk away from the temple. So that means that you don't actually internalize. You're not able to internalize the skillful means of the bodhisattvas yet, because the bodhisattvas have used countless skillful means in this life to try to enlighten you for countless lifetimes, but still you don't understand it yet. You have met countless bodhisattvas in the past, but you still don't have this indestructible faith yet. So we talk about believing in the sentient beings as Buddhas. So now at a lower level, we can think that all sentient beings are actually bodhisattvas, and due to their love and they're caring for us, that they want to manifest in all the worlds and in this world in order to help us, to assist us, and to deliver us. We really have to believe this, because if we don't believe in this, then there's no way that you can become Buddhas. So in the past, we believed that all sentient beings are Buddhas. Then now we have to think that all the different ways in this world are actually skillful means of the bodhisattvas to help you become enlightened. Then you don't need to go to a blissful realm. You can remain in this world with all the countless Buddhas and with all the countless bodhisattvas who are trying to help you to become enlightened. So the bodhisattvas are not trying to block you from anything to make you obstructed or to bring obstacles to you. No, they are here to help us with their different expedient, skillful means. So for many time, I mean, for a long time, we don't have this kind of understanding. So we should try to ask the bodhisattvas to forgive you, to thank them for coming here and for using all sorts of positive as well as negative skillful means to teach you, and ask them to continue to teach you in whichever way, with whichever skillful means. So this is actually that's indestructible faith. So in regards to the Avatamsaka Sutra, there's just so many wondrous and unique and very powerful lessons. So let's say if right in this life, in this human life, we can be unobstructed with all sorts of negative as well as positive circumstances, then we are able to become unimpeded. And if we are unimpeded, then we'll be able to transcend the life and death cycle. Then nothing will be difficult anymore. So we really have to have this indestructible faith. We have to develop this faith that everything is nothing but the indestructible, the expedient means, the skillful means of the bodhisattvas. If you have this indestructible faith, then no need for you to enter the temple to practice. So you may think that in the temple you have all the conditions that are conducive to your practice. But if we understand about the different skillful means of the bodhisattvas, then no need to practice in the temple. You can live in the market. And if somebody curses you, then you can think of her as a bodhisattva who's giving you a teaching in the market, so that you don't be attached to the money. And then you can understand that, oh, the lesson is that if it's money and somebody takes it away from me, then it's not actually mine. So that is a good lesson, because there's just so many people who have called me, who have cried because somebody have taken away their money from them. And I told them that if you cry like that you don't understand the Buddharma, you don't actually understand the karma, cause and effect. But most significantly, or the simplest way for you to understand, is whatever people can take away from you is not truly yours. Even your head, if they want to come and cut off your head and they were able to cut off your head, then it is not yours. But if it is yours, then they won't be able to cut it off. So even if the robbers come to your house, they come to your house and rob things from your house. But if they are not theirs and they're still yours, then there's no way that all the wealth can be taken away. So there are robbers who come into the house and try to steal the money, and end up he fell asleep, and then the policemen came in the morning and then arrested him. So if you cry and if you become sad and depressed, if somebody takes away your money, then you don't understand the Buddha Dharma, you don't understand the karma. So you have to always be happy with whatever happens to you. So then let's say if you don't have money, to go to Europe, but because you believe in your merits, in your virtues, that you may end up being able to go to Europe, and people will take care of you, will feed you. That means that you have the merits to be able to enjoy all of that. So if you have great merits, and you have to have believe in it, if you have great merits, then the food, the housing, and the clothing will be supplied to you. So you have to have this kind of faith. So now I have a story to tell you. So I don't know the different languages of the different countries, but I end up in Europe. I ended up in different countries, to Australia, and I gave teaching to many people in those countries. And then one time I had to go from Germany to Australia. And then I had to change airplanes. And then I did not know how to speak their languages. And then there was somebody who came to me and said, "Oh, teacher, where are you going?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going back to Vietnam from Germany." And then that person helped guide me. So actually, you have to have great faith in everything that happened in your life. So all the skillful means are feel in this universe, either positive or negative, and all these skillful means, you can learn a lot from them. And whichever happens in this life, whoever brings whatever circumstances to your life, you'll be able to learn well from them. So if you don't believe in this indestructible faith, if you don't believe in it, then whatever happens, you won't be able to accomplish anything. But if you have this faith, then many things would happen to you, and then you'll be able to learn and you accomplish. So sometimes you think that you are a good person, and you only listen to people who are good people, and those people who are not good people, you think of them as being evil or negative, then you don't listen to them. You only listen to the teachers who are good meditators, who are good teachers, then you would listen and learn from them. And those whom you believe that they are not good meditators, good teachers, and you avoid them. So what kind of practice is that? It means that we swing to one extreme. We have a preference. We choose between either this or that. And if that is the case, then your wisdom cannot be perfectly complete. But once you have made the aspiration to learn from anyone, from everything, then whichever it is, you'll be able to learn and to progress. So sometimes you see someone who's a drunkard, and you really hate it. You don't want to take a look at his face. You don't want to look at his face. Well, this drunkard, everybody hates him. But you yourself, would you be able to do something so that someone can hate you? Or actually, you always only want somebody to love you. You want to be well behaved so that everybody loves you and cares for you. So what is that drunkard teaching you? The drunkard is teaching you and giving you a lesson that don't be like me. If you be like me, then no one likes me, then everybody hates me. So instead of telling us that in words, he becomes a drunkard so that he can teach us. So that is a great lesson. But we don't want to learn from people like that, or to think of those as lessons like that. Actually, the people who are misbehaved are the people who actually become lessons to us. They they only beg for money, they are drunkard, they are lazy, and they don't want to do any work. So then when they beg us for money, they would think, oh, you are so terrible, why don't you work for money? And then they gave a little bit of money and they start to give lessons or preach the lessons to those people, just as if we are bodhisattvas ourselves. So I used to have a Dharma brother. There was a person who usually came to the temple and begged for money. Then he would preach her and said, why are you coming here to beg for money? Why are you giving birth to so many children like that? Why don't you work to have money to raise your children? So I used to tell him, why do you have to say all of that? Just give her the money. Maybe she is a bodhisattva who's teaching us something. So we have to see at every being as a bodhisattva, so that we could look at all the corners of life and learn from all the corners of life. So in regards to the Dharma teachers also, if you learn from all beings like that, then everything that happens in this life can become a great lesson and can become a great Dharma teaching, and you can learn from all of them and you can progress based on all those lessons. So what is it here? You have to have indestructible faith, in the expedient means. Why is it that they need all these expedient means? Because they need to deliver all the sentient beings. They need to gather all the sentient beings to deliver them. So there was a time in the past when there were some people who are like my younger brothers who want to study, who want to study law. So I told them, yes, you could go to study, and then after 3 months, you come here and I want to ask you a question. So they came back after 3 months after studying law. So I told them, please write me an essay. Oh, not the law, but I'm sorry, about the precepts of a monk. So you can write me an essay and tell me about the virtues of an ordained person. Every 5 minutes, you can have perform 100 virtues. Can you do that? Can you write about 100 virtues of a person within 5 minutes? So let's say if you are a lay practitioner, so you meet with your friend and you hug your friend. But when you meet a Dharma, you don't hug the master, but you welcome him in a different way. So that's a virtue. That's the virtuous conduct. So or if you are sitting in front of the teacher, you can sit down, but you don't laugh in front of the teacher. That is also a virtuous conduct. So so let's say if you laugh in front of a teacher, in front of a person who's an arhat, then how can you laugh? What kind of laugh would you would you show off? So and also when you take a cup of water and you want to offer that cup of water to your father or your teacher, and then how would you do that as a subtle virtuous conduct? And how do you raise your head? How do you bow your head in front of somebody whom you want to pay respect to? So if you walk with your friend, and it is somebody whom you truly treasure or respect, then Would you hold the hand of somebody like that? Or for example, if you are, you know, we are in front of somebody who's higher than you, and we are trying to taking pictures with somebody who's higher than you, then what would you do? Would you put your shoulder in front of this person, or would you try to, you know, step back a little bit so that your shoulder is behind somebody who's higher than you? So these are like subtle conducts, and you have to perform all these subtle conducts, virtuous conducts, so that we can progress in life. So here we're talking about the subtle conducts, and later on we are talking about the great Dharma activities, great Buddha activities, Buddha conducts. It means that we pay respect to all the beings, and if we pay respect to all the beings to try to help them, then that is the Buddha activities. When we try to amass and we try to maintain these conducts, then that means that we'll be able to accomplish our activities, and we are amassing great conducts. So for example, if there's somebody who has many great admirers, then you love your admirers. So that's the way of the ordinary people. But if they hate you, would you love them back? If you don't love them back, that is the ordinary way. But if you are beyond ordinary, you are non-ordinary, you are transcendental, then you love and respect every being, because all the sentient beings are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So if you don't respect them, then what kind of person are you? So if you don't pay respect to others, then you don't truly understand the Buddha Dharma. There are just so many people who are not respectful of other sentient beings. So if you truly understand this, if you want to maintain your Buddha Dharma conducts, to make sure your conducts are pure, your conducts are peerless, then you have to pay respect. You have to revere everything that comes into your life, whether it's positive or negative. Only if you can do that, that you are able to maintain on all your virtuous conducts. And if somebody comes and curses at you, and you become hateful toward that person, then that means that you have destroyed all of your virtuous conducts. So now we are here to study the Buddha Dharma, to learn the Buddha Dharmas. If the Bodhisattvas come and curse at you, if you become annoyed, if you become agitated, and you become disturbed, then that means that you don't show your appreciation with these bodhisattvas. If you don't appreciate them, then it would be very difficult to meet them in this life. But if you open your hearts up and you accept everything and revere everything and every being, then even when you are sleeping, then in your sleep, the bodhisattvas would come and teach you, and you'll be able to learn even in your dream. So if that's the case, then whatever happens in this life, you have to, have deep faith in everything as a skillful mean, and every being as a bodhisattvas. And if you have these methods of practice, if you internalize all of this, then it'll be enough for you from now until the day you attain enlightenment. If you treasure everything as a precious lesson, as a precious being, as a precious teaching, then you'll be able to progress very productively, and then you'll be able to be enlightened, to be taught by countless bodhisattvas throughout the world. Because in the past we used to rely on the correct words of the proper teachers, but now everyone can be your bodhisattvas, so everybody can give you teachings. So let's say if you're sitting here and you get up and somebody just slap at you, then that too is a bodhisattva who's teaching you about something. So then just like in the past, one disciple was so sad, and his teacher pushes him out and shut the door, and then smash his foot, and then all of a sudden he became enlightened. Or another teacher, kick his student, and then he rolled down outside, and then somehow got enlightened. So all these bodhisattvas are even better than the Zen masters. They don't wait for anything. They give you a lesson at any time, at any moment, in every circumstance. So if you can open your heart mind to accept all of this, to welcome all of this, then you'll be able to learn countless lessons, because each bodhisattva is trying to teach you, is trying to deliver you, to perfect you. And none of the bodhisattvas are trying to do anything to not perfecting you.
Namo Buddha Shakyamuni. This is the end of an excerpt of a live interpretation of an oral commentary given by Bhikkhu Thich Tue on the Avatamsaka Sutra. The interpreter takes full responsibility for all errors that are solely due to her limitations in English proficiency and in understanding the Dharma.